Hello everybody, welcome. My name is Alistair. Today we're going to look at the Barbarian DPS. It's currently mod 32. This is not my main character, so it's a little bit behind. As you see, my item level is still quite low. And I'm still running a few of the older pieces of gear. Not that they're necessarily bad, but it's certainly not my main DPS character. You can probably tell because if you look at my campaign boons, I've got none of them done. Even though obviously all the DPS ones be super important, movement speed, forte, recharge speed, and obviously the ones that do magnitude have damage increase. I just never use them. I mostly tank on my barbarian. I enjoy the tank, I think it's a bit of fun, but overall my barbarian is one that I don't use as much. So this isn't the perfect build, but I was specifically requested to do this by someone in my YouTube messages, so I'm going to do it for them. So starting off, I've got the A-lomed headpiece for combat advantage, emblem chest piece for combat advantage accuracy. I've got this from MSOD. As you see, it doesn't have any armor reinforcement, same with the head because this is an alt. I've got the perfect weapons. I still think some of the best weapons in the game. Give you that nice 3% damage boost, give you overall outgoing healing for a healer, which is not too bad. But also when your stamina's empty, your incoming damage is actually improved, which is really nice. Over here we've got the Abyss Conqueror's Mauler Greaves. These are for combat advantage. If I was in AoE, I would rock these for combat advantage, and that would give me so much more space. But I've only got one build. I don't have an AoE specific build, but I could make an AoE specific build if I wanted to. I just don't run it enough to do so. If I get 5% more combat advantage from somewhere else, let's say I change my race to the GIF, I could absolutely swap these out for accuracy bits, give me more item level and giving me obviously more accuracy, which is the main thing. Over here, I'm running these artifacts. I'm running this shirt from the new campaign. You can also get these through the seals vendor as well. I'm currently running the Ember Stitch pants. When I get another pair of the Ash pants that give 8% crit strike, I will absolutely use those. Shroomwood for obviously recharge speed, strength bonus, and accuracy. And a epic ring from the new campaign. And I got this one actually off the auction house because I couldn't be bothered running to try and get this one to drop, so I bought this one. Actually, the MSH rings are actually very cheap in the auction house, so the ASH rings. So this is what I look like potted without obviously proccing anything. And over here, this is what I'm running: Amethyst, Amalite, and a jade down here, and then everything in here is defense, and utility is forte. Sword Coast Tactician, Devil's Precision. Now the Swift Synergy, I do prefer the Lightning Flash because it gives you the 1000 combined rating, which goes towards all your stats, but the extra item level and the stats that I need are this one. However, this only fully procs once you're in a party. You're missing half of its bonus when you're not in a party. And over here I've got movement speed because it's helpful with a barbarian to have movement speed. Over here we have got Relentless Slash. Relentless Slash goes with Not So Fast, that goes with this feat down here, Relentless Speed, allowing you basically to get procs of Not So Fast for free. This is my single target build, as you see, so that's AoE, a single target. I'm using Indomitable Battle Strike and Frenzy, obviously for the massive damage. Indomitable Battle Strike goes with this feat here. So basically it's going to be giving you as much damage as possible. So if you got this at the beginning, you're getting 2 112 magnitude hits. Not So Fast will proc multiple times, which is why I feel like it's better than Punishing Charge, because you get it time and time again, as long as you're using your Relentless Slash. When in rage, you can use this will do more damage. However, this has the possibility of proccing Not So Fast, so you need to then weigh up, okay, is it worthwhile doing that when in rage? Down from here, Crescendo and Avalanche of Steel. Crescendo for your single target and Avalanche of Steel obviously for your AoE if you want to use it. And I'll quickly show you the AoE setup. The AoE setup is still not so fast, but it's after Roar. Roar gets you your rage really quickly depending on how many ads you hit. So if you have a big crowd of ads clumped up close together, you get straight into rage. Axe Storm, sorry. Very useful ranged AoE. I know the Barbarian has range. Avalanche of Steel procs nicely with this feat down here. Yep, Steel Slam. It does the initial damage, also does the damage over time, and has a slow effect. Now down here, the only one that's really mandatory is Raging Strikes. This one is a must, and this goes nicely with this one down here that increases your time in rage and also increases your damage. So these are a must. And then the other one can be whatever you really want it to be. So for single target, I tend to use this, allow me to get my cooldowns quicker, allow me to use more encounter powers. However, there are tons of viable things like, obviously, stats. This is very viable because you do a lot of at-wills. Chance to get double at-will, which is quite nice. Maximum hit points and power, stats, maximum hit points, survivability. You're not moving out of reds as often as other people. You're going to rage through it. 5% more damage, rage per second. That's a little bit less necessary unless you're not able to hit things as often. So that can be useful in some dungeons where you have to go away from the boss for a little bit. And then this one's increasing movement speed. Again, useful for AoE. Some people will run it in AoE, I personally don't. And for your feats, Relentless Speed, Indomitable Rage, Brutal Critical, allowing you to gain 3 rage for each hit of critical strike, Steel Slam, and Escalating Rage. Boons, obviously here whatever you need, and here whatever you need. I've got power, movement speed, and defense. Obviously that's the best one for survivability. Now this is where it obviously lacks a little bit. I am currently using stat companions on the back page. Once this one's up at 9%, that'll be me capped my crit strike without the need of an Etrian. But unfortunately, yeah, this is a alt, so I've not built around any of the flat damage companions. In fact, I'm not even sure that this character has the flat damage companions. I don't think it does. Anyway, flat damage is not here, unfortunately, but it still does plenty of damage even if you don't have them. This does proc very often and consistently. I've not found this to be an issue in the Barbarian, so I'll happily run it on the Barbarian. And then Mount Hout now, companion enhancements and critical strike. I prefer the things that sit flat rather than the things that proc. Because consistent stats I always find are better than stats that obviously take a chance of going up and a chance of staying on and all that. So if you can get consistency, that's where I like to be. I always run a single target mount power, whether I'm AoE or single target. And this is just because I don't like having to switch all this stuff, because if that was on cooldown, my flying carpet or my school guppy mount, wherever it is, somewhere here, if it's on cooldown, I couldn't just switch quickly at the campfire. And I would have to switch at the campfire or go through and click on the character. I would rather just be able to go through to powers, press Y, and switch my power set nice and quickly. Blazing Opportunity. Over here, I've got Gladiator's Gale for movement speed, more than anything. I've got Tactician's Precision. I've got Cavalry's Haste. One of these is usually good enough, but 2 just helps smooth everything out. Plus, when you're in AoE content, it allows you to have a bit more burst damage when using Cavalry's Haste, because it means that you get your stuff back quicker, meaning you get more burst damage. And 2 Executioners for stats. As you see here, I'm running a few legendaries, and I'm running no mythic collars. Mythic collars are pretty overrated, to be fair. I do have plenty of them, but they're not overly necessary. So what I'll do is I'm going to show my rotation for Artifact Call. Now, interestingly enough, In the training room, there's like a 50-50 chance that my character will just die. Like, we'll just straight up die when I use my daily power. Crescendo in my artifact column. So, when you're doing your at will, which is your relentless slash, obviously not so fast will trigger. That allows you to use it to trigger to trigger it multiple times, allowing you to do more damage, but also getting your rage back quicker. With the at will, if you click down on the left click at the same time and do it right, see how quickly your stuff comes back. Rage goes up, I then do 1, 2, 3, and then I can do relentless slash until it's all done. Get as much out of there as possible, and then back to my at will that procs my slash again. Now ideally, back out, just quickly show you my stats. These are my stats. Obviously the combat advantage crit severity will go to cap. Once I upgrade my Grump will go and bring my crit straight to cap. And my power with an equip is Pack of Raptors will obviously go to cap. So believe it or not, I am capping my stats, obviously with the back page having different things on it. Then there's not so fast back, nice and quick. And yeah, so these are my stats in combat. Right, now I will try and show an artifact rotation. This will be very interesting to see how this works. Okay, so artifact call's coming up. I'll go into raid, drop my artifact, 3 encounter powers, my belt, my mount, and then my daily power, and then back to the queue. So I go artifact, rage, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Here it is, do I die? I survive it, nice. 1, 2, 3, and then back to whichever one that came off cooldown at the next time there. So as you see, capping my stats apart from accuracy obviously, and it still does a good bit of damage. That was what, like 4 bars of hit points? That's actually very, very good considering I have no flat damage companions. That's doing about the same as my rogue, and my rogue is much better built, but barbarians have such heavy hitting encounter powers. As you see, 1200 magnitude, 1275 magnitude, and not so fast can proc tons of times. Your burst damage would be a little bit higher with punishing charge, but you don't get your rage back as quickly, and you don't get as many, like your damage over time is better if not so fast. So that was single target. Let me quickly show AoE. So, put my action points back on. AoE is a little bit annoying on the barbarian. It's nice if the roll goes up for you. Now, we're going to obviously go into combat, and we're going to start with the roar to get as much rage as possible. Let's go roar, and then I can go straight to rage. So nice. If I use my daily, if I use my mount power, I get myself back a bit quicker. Roar again. Go back to rage. Slash away, making sure I'm going to reposition to get combat advantage. Not so fast is obviously a must. If you see here, I'm actually away from the grip, I'm actually closer to the grip. And it's just a matter of using that roar and that not so fast to rock, obviously cooldown reduction for yourself. The more people you get with the roar, the faster it comes back. And it's just this. The hardest part about barbarian is obviously trying to get to the enemies, because then you've got to sprint over to them and then start hitting them, and then they might move, or a wizard pushes them and you got to run over here. It's a little bit of stress. So as I said, that's my build I'm currently running. However, it's unfortunate that I don't run this as my my main, because obviously I'm missing out on a ton of stuff, including like consumable. I'd usually put an accuracy consumable here, allowing me to get my accuracy up by another 4,000. Normally I actually run this as a tank, and they do make very good tanks. So if I just quickly switch over to my Tonky Tonk side, let me just quickly do that and switch over to my tank. You'll be able to see my tank. I usually tend to run it as a tank because the tanking is so much easier in this game. My stats are easier to get. I don't have to have tons of crazy stuff. I don't have to have many boom points. It's very simple. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed that. As I said, that was my barbarian DPS build. In mod 32, even though it's not using a lot of mod 32 gear. And I hope it was helpful for you who commented. Obviously, if you need anything else or you guys want to see any other builds from any other classes, just let me know.